Nelson Mandela was famous for ending South African apartheid. Apartheid was a system of racial segregation in South Africa. Americans were incensed by the South African government, and there were protests in this country decrying apartheid. They fully supported Mandela's cry of one man, one vote. Isn't it time that Americans start protesting for another country's apartheid? When are we going to end the Electoral College? Many countries have used our Constitution as a template for their own country's Constitution. Even those countries that included the Electoral College originally have eliminated it, so that the USA is the only country that still has it. We pride ourselves on being a democracy, which would mean one person, one vote, and yet we are far from that. State elections are for the most part democratic, but federal ones are far from it. We vote for 1/435th of the House of Representatives, 1/50th of the Senate, and we continue to delude ourselves into believing that we vote for the president. We don't. We vote for electors. With the exception of Maine and Nebraska, all the states have a winner-take-all system, which means that the candidate that wins the popular vote in the states wins all the electors. That means that if you vote in Texas as a Democrat or in California as a Republican, you might as well stay home on election day because your vote doesn't count. It would be just as simple to let only one person and no one else to vote in California if he's a Democrat and a Republican in Texas. It wouldn't change the outcome of the election. Think of all the money we could save on elections if we only had to deal with one Democrat in California or a Republican in Texas. The number of electors is determined by counting 2 senators and the number of representatives in each individual state. A 1961 amendment granted the District of Columbia 3 electors, making the number of electors 538, and needing a simple majority of 270 electors to win the presidency. The Electoral College was the result of a compromise. Some of the members of the Constitutional Convention wanted to have Congress pick the president. Others wanted to directly vote for the president. After debate in the Constitutional Convention, they decided against the election by Congress because it might violate the separation of powers doctrine. The Electoral College system was chosen under pressure from the slave states, who, because of slaves being counted as 3/4 of a person, would get more electors. Each candidate has his own slate of electors, usually chosen by their party or whatever the laws of the state dictate. When you vote, you are actually voting for your candidate's slate of electors. Though the Constitution doesn't demand it, most electors vote for the candidates they were assigned to vote for. There have been 165 cases of faithless electors, 90 for president and 75 for vice president. In 1872, there were 63 faithless electors, but Grant had clinched enough votes to win the election. In 1836, Virginia's entire 23-man delegation abstained in voting for the vice presidential nominee, but he was later confirmed by the Senate. As late as 2016, the state of Washington had 4 faithless electors, but has since changed its rules. People who liked the college claim candidates had to have a broad appeal to win. Others say it doesn't always represent the majority of the people. There have been elections in 1824, 1876, 1888, 2000, and 2016, where the electoral vote was different from the popular vote. Donald Trump both won and lost because of the electoral vote. Every election, the candidates campaign in the swing states because those electoral votes are crucial to winning. Wouldn't it be better to not play favorites and appeal to the whole population? More amendments to the Electoral College have been put forth than any other part of the Constitution. It seems like common sense that we could do without it and end American apartheid. Or am I crazy? Why is it that people consider it acceptable to watch someone's YouTube channel and not subscribe? Most YouTubers need the subscription to grow their channels and to make money. In a sense, a subscription is like a tip for a waitress. Probably 90% of you leave a tip even when you get bad service. I can't believe that you all exclusively eat at fast food restaurants to avoid leaving a tip. So please, subscribe. And I promise not to spit in your food.